Welcome back. This is episode 11. This episode is focused on navigating her return to work, what to expect, and help you deal with the challenges she's going to face, some of which you'll have not focused on before baby arrives. It's summer, the kids are off school, and both my wife and I, like so many other working parents, are navigating the chaos that is school holidays. With our eldest, we're still able to get him into club, but with our youngest, we're on the home straight. We're almost at the start of his school journey, which means that lump sum we've been paying out every month since he was 12 months old is finally about to disappear. Financial freedom, perhaps. I love my kids, but they are, at times, batshit crazy. And I honestly believe the real challenges start once they've gone to school, once they've hit that age when they're talking back and starting to develop their own personality and finding their own way in the world. But that doesn't mean those formative months aren't stressful or challenging. I just think the hard work kicks in when they're wrestling with who they are. I'm excited and apprehensive at this next stage. More change, more challenges, but our youngest is ready. He's been ready for months. So let's see how we go. So, 2 kids in school, a wife at the peak of her powers in her chosen field, and me devoting time to my passion and my career. I'm glad we're through the expensive years. But I remember when we put our eldest in nursery for the first time thinking, man, this is expensive. Where the hell do we find the money to pay for it? The wife went back to work, and it wasn't until she got back into the swing of things that I noticed the challenges she was facing. I was ignorant, more like poorly educated. And for many wives, partners or girlfriends, returning to work just isn't an option. This is an emotive subject, something that burns deeply. I am the husband to a working mother. And yes, every episode that we have done thus far is very much focused on you, Dad, and it should be. But there is this dynamic that we cannot overlook in our position as fathers, as husbands, partners, boyfriends. We have an opportunity to step up and add value to our families, but we must be aware of the challenges that she is going to face. You must understand that a mother's role is so important, both at home, but as she embarks on a return to work, if she has that choice. You have to be in her corner. You have to recognise that she's going to face things that you do not face in your role. You have to be switched on to those challenges. You cannot overlook these challenges because it will create friction, conflict in the home. It will drive a wedge between you. You are there to champion her progress, her future, your family's future. The foundations of strong families is built on that unit between you and her, and baby benefits from both parents being in a position to be confident, resilient, filled with the motivation, filled with opportunities. Maternity leave will, in most cases, leave the family at a disadvantage. Childcare only compounds that disadvantage. Yes, we choose to have children. Yes, it's our choice to widen our legacy, but one of us cannot be disadvantaged. One of us cannot be set back. If we have 2 earners in the home, one cannot take a step back just because of the cost of childcare, just because of the attitude of an employer, just because that leader is no longer interested in the value and the contribution that your partner may bring. This episode is emotive. It is more focused on mum returning to work, but it is there to educate you and hopefully provide the resources that you need to switch on to the fact that she is going to face things that you will not face. She is going to face the challenges on her own. If you do not recognise those challenges and step up where you can, you will not be able to defend her in front of her employer. You will not be able to stand up, but you cannot overlook these things because it will drive that wedge. It will stop the 2 of you communicating openly. An honest approach to communication, transparency, trust, accountability, authenticity, all of those things create a family unit that enable you both to thrive. You need to have her back. She needs to see that you've got her back. That's through actions, through words, it's through listening. Be ready, step up, listen to this episode, take on as much as you can. The next set of episodes are all designed to help you step up and support her on her journey back to the workplace. Financially, there are plenty of obstacles to her returning to work, but frankly, we need to get better at picking on the subtle bullshit that they go through. I'm all for equality. I want my partner to have the same opportunities I have. But what I want more than anything is for the nonsense about her taking time off to look after our kids to be a subject that's put to bed. We chose to have kids, a choice we made because we wanted to start a family. That's never been held against me, but man, it's been held against her. And the difference between men and women at this stage is that you and I, we're on the same page and you'll have my back. If you and I are competing for something, you'll want to beat me and I'll want to beat you. But for the most part, you'll appreciate the effort expended in getting to whatever goal it was. We'll shake hands. For her, men are ignorant to the challenges that she's facing. And then there's this group of women that they're not planning to have kids. And they have a real issue with mums trying to balance both. They'd rather see the mum fail than succeed. How can that be right in today's society? This is an incredibly emotive subject and an incredibly challenging subject for a man to offer his opinion on. That said, I wouldn't be fulfilling my role as a partner or husband if I wasn't prepared to voice my opinion and share my frustration. As a partner to a career mum, a woman who is desperate to find the balance necessary to feel like she's delivering at home and at work, my role is to help her find that balance without sacrificing one in favour of the other. Her career gives her a sense of purpose and direction, and it's something that she worked incredibly hard for before she had our children. Her personal aspirations are not something to ignore. Her career gives her a sense of identity and accomplishment. It is hers to own, and it contributes to the financial stability of our family. I was not prepared for the challenges she faced on her return to work. Naively, I believed the value and contribution she brought before she had our children would count for something. How wrong was I? What you quickly come to realise is that most employers and most leaders are just not equipped to understand the pressures of modern motherhood. What makes it worse is that they're not set up to help returning mums thrive. Instead of championing returning mothers, they are choosing to ignore them, undervalue their contribution, and leave mums feeling isolated and lost. As a partner, you have to be alive to the impact her return is going to have on both of you, and especially her. She will seek to find a balance that works for her and the family, but will do so whilst battling bias, the perceptions of others, and a lack of support, education, and resources. I've watched in awe as my partner tackled these obstacles head on and with her pride intact. I've witnessed the conflict she experiences as a working mother, and I've seen her navigate her return with dignity, resilience, and perseverance. My role in our partnership is to step up and help her on her journey, and to be there to help her face up to any adversity that she faces. As a witness to the obstacles placed in her way, I've grown frustrated, angry, and tired of the ignorance of those around her. What I see is someone who put their all into their career before becoming a mum, and continues to put her all into that career. I see someone that pushes forward, a woman prepared to take on extra responsibility, push herself outside of her comfort zone, and build relationships that are necessary for her to be successful, despite her effort, sacrifice, and willingness to perform at the highest level. She is still ignored and overlooked. As an outsider, I see the effort she expended to get back to where she started. Let me be clear at this point. Returning to work for any mum is not a fresh start. It is a continuation of the impact that they were having. Your partner may have adjusted to motherhood during her maternity, and her priorities may have changed, but that does not mean that she should be negatively impacted on her return to work. As her partner, I must stand back. I cannot take over and challenge her employer. It's not my place. But I must be there for the fallout. I must take a back seat and be prepared to support her through the challenges ahead. As I reflect on the conversations that we have had over the years, I can feel the rage building, the frustration, anger, call it what you will. It's not acceptable. And as a partner, you must demonstrate that you have her back, that you are prepared to listen and try to understand the obstacles placed in her way. My wife, like your wife or partner, put her body on the line to bring our children into the world. As she embarks on this new journey, you are powerless to stand up to the challenges that she will face on her return. You're powerless because you're not able to step in and support her during this time. You cannot fight her battles. She must navigate these waters alone, and you can only stand by and watch as you hear about the way that she has been treated. As a partner, this can be incredibly frustrating as you strive to understand the challenges that she faces. Your understanding is made more difficult because, as the man, you don't often come into contact with these types of challenges, and therefore a solution-focused approach is not always the option. In my experience as a leader, the employers are focusing on bias training. But are we recognising the working mother in all of this? I'm stood here in 2024 championing the working mother. For a moment, this isn't about you, Dad. This is about how you can stand shoulder to shoulder and help her reach her potential. Not only do you need to understand, but you must recognise the conflict that she faces and the struggle she feels internally as she wrestles with the demands of work and her need to be a good mother. She knows she faces an uphill task, and deep down she knows that she will need to work harder to get back to where she started. Yes, to where she started. Yes, she had time out, but she didn't grow any less intelligent or lose any of the knowledge she'd acquired over her career. She has been out of sight, and with little effort to connect and engage her during the latter stages of her maternity leave, she may have lost value in the eyes of her employer. This lack of engagement, call it ignorance, call it policy driven, and a lack of education stops mum feeling confident as she starts back to work. A poor working culture will leave her feeling at risk. And as her partner, you must be prepared for the seismic shift she will experience. And your preparation for her return must begin long before she starts that return. For some, the return to work is made even more difficult by the financial burden of childcare and the cost of maternity leave. That places your family at a disadvantage. Your ability to be financially stable after having a baby is so difficult to achieve. Your partner wants nothing more than to be a mum. But she's worked so hard. Why should she be expected to sacrifice it all? Her fight starts before she's made the decision to return. Work will only add to her challenges. As a mother trying to get back into the workplace, she must win the recognition back. She must be visible. She will have to work harder than the colleague without children. And at times, she will have to sacrifice her time with her children and you to feel validated outside the home. In today's society, it's even easier to overlook and undervalue the contribution of the working mum. And as a leader in a business, I have, in the past, been guilty of ignoring those who worked for me, who'd gone off to have a baby. Every single one added value and contributed to the objectives of the business I was leading. But honestly speaking, they were out of sight, out of mind. And whilst on maternity leave, and until someone flagged to me that I needed to do something, I waited. My ignorance led me to overlooking the importance of that return to work and missing the obstacles that a mother faced. Not only was that social bias, but until I'd seen what my partner had been subjected to, it was my own personal bias too. I put it down to a lack of education, but mostly ignorance. I had no experience of the pressure of the working mother. But now, as a husband, a father, and a partner, I've seen it firsthand. As a husband, I've witnessed the pain and frustration that accompanies her return to work. This is a resource for you to use and reflect on, and so will the episodes that follow. It is not a perfect manual because your experience will differ to mine. But as a partner to a working mother, you need to engage and educate yourself on the bumpy road ahead. If your partner is planning to return to work, I want you to recognise that the obstacle might be a financial one, and one that stops her before she even decides she can return to work. As someone who put her heart and soul into her career before I first arrived, my wife didn't want to sacrifice her career. She shouldn't have to. Her time with our son was necessary and something she wanted to experience, and a time filled with unforgettable memories. But her plan was always to go back to work. Let's face it, financially, we needed her to go back to work. Her maternity was her chance to forge this remarkable bond with our sons, and it was her space to disconnect and put her all into being a mother. As the time came to an end, we knew she'd be returning to work. For us, it was financially necessary, and we were in a position where we could afford the cost of childcare. And I understand that that's not available to everyone. But this is why you need to engage early. Together, you need to talk openly about her career aspirations, goals, all the things that she enjoys. If you've yet to have a baby, I urge you to proactively take steps to talk about the financial implications of having kids. For some, childcare cost is prohibitive and stops the conversation before it can even take place. The combination of maternity closely followed by childcare can stop her from returning to work. This means that the choice to return isn't there. Due to the nature of maternity pay, you will likely be faced with a shortfall in your family's finances, and the cost of childcare, as I've said, will only make that hole in your finances worse. So as you embark on your parenting adventure, you create a gap which is hard to fill, and it can be even harder to fill as you weigh up the impact of childcare. In reality, her salary may just about cover the cost of childcare, and in some cases, might not even scratch the surface. And that results in a financial gap that is too big to fill and one that stops her getting back to work. You see, the decision to return to work after maternity leave is a critical step in your journey as parents. After navigating the early demands of parenthood, it is the first major test of your partnership, and one that you must approach with care, empathy, understanding, and as I've said, honest communication. Her career, her return isn't just a balancing act. It's a difficult path to navigate and requires patience, resilience, and most importantly, your unwavering support. This episode and the next few episodes in this series are designed to get you ready for her return to work. I'd be interested to hear your thoughts and views on this episode, and I want to hear the horror stories. And if you take one thing away from this episode, champion your partner. Never overlook her contribution. Never underestimate the impact her career and her choice to return to work can have on her health and well-being, her confidence and happiness. Tune in to the challenges she's faced. There's going to be challenges on the horizon, and help her build the resilience necessary to make the choices that are right for her and for your family. I learned a lot from my own journey and setback, but these conversations have to take place. And frankly, employers and the government need to get behind the working mums and better signpost the policies and the financial impact that maternity and childcare can have. But also, they need to be educating from the top down that a mum returning to work isn't just a number, but someone who contributed before they went off and is likely, if they've been able to return to work, want to contribute now. I'm excited to share more with you. I'm excited about the journey that we're on. Fathers play an active role in their children's lives, but they also play an active role in the future progress of their partners, their wives, girlfriends. If you're an employer looking to educate your workforce on the impact that maternity leave can have on a family, and you want to have the male spin on it, which can make you feel uncomfortable, listen, I champion the working mother, because the working mother contributes to the overall financial stability of the family unit, and families together are stronger. The bond that they have, the conflicts that they have, can be created through the inefficiency or the challenges that they're facing at work. You play an active role in the success of families, especially where the working mum is involved. But educating the partner, educating the new dad, might not feel like it's necessary, might not feel like it fits the agenda, but you are championing equality of women, and the man plays an important role. and a dad has an emotive connection to advancing the working mum, especially if she's the mother of his children. Tap into that resource. Tap into those voices. Communicate openly with them. Help them build a stronger relationship with their partners. And if you're dad listening to this, there's more episodes to follow. There's more content for you to immerse yourself in. The Modern Fatherhood Club will always have your back. We will give you the resources that you need to be successful in your role as dad, but also successful in your partnership. Thank you for listening. Thank you for tuning in. I respect everything that you do for your family, and I look forward to serving you more. For more info, check out the Modern Fatherhood Club website. And if you're interested in getting in contact, our trainings and ebooks are available, and you can sign up to any of the free training that we deliver. I'm excited to be on this journey with you. I'm excited for your future. Thank you once again. This is Fatherhood in Focus.